So this is the carousel I built with Claude Code. I built it in the weekend. It's not a product launch. It was just me wanting to see if I can turn one long form asset into a just potential carousel. So the first version worked, but it looked basic, and that was the real pain. So this video is really how I built the carousel and what I learned. Messy parts included. So here's the job, right? You have a script or a transcript or a blog post, and it's just sitting there. You meant to chop it up into a carousel, you didn't, and then a week later it's dead. And that's the problem I want to solve for myself. All right, so here's the whole workbench. It's just one canvas, 5 steps. And so step number 1, you drop in a script or a transcript. Step 2, you pick the angle, not a summary, one reason a person would actually swipe. And then step 3, write the angle into a field called deck.json. Step 4, a small node script reads that file. It renders the slides as PNGs. And then step 5, optional, polish it from an image model. Then a quick eyeball check, and that's it. And so the reason I showed this map first is simple. The trick isn't what the AI does. The trick is where the words live. You can't see that rule until the pipeline is laid out. So here's the truth layer here on the right side. And every slide is a row in here, a title in the middle, a body underneath, and a tag for the slide type. And that's it. No paragraphs, just fields. So here's the rule. If the words aren't in this file, they don't go on the slide. It sounds dumb and obvious, but it's the reason this works. The render step can invent text. The polish step can invent text. And if I want to change a line, I change it right here once. So every slide downstream picks this up. So just think of it this way, right? If you want to create a slide around AI or maybe Claude Code, and there are certain things you want to talk about, you're not going to just tell AI, hey, can you just generate me a slide or a carousel on this topic? Or even just use these words, because it gets kind of complex. What words exactly do you want in there? So instead of having to re-explain yourself, that's what this does right here. It's just like extra insurance, so that no matter what model is generating this, or after this process, whatever generates the carousel is always going to hit the same text. It could be a different font, it could be a different color, but the text is always going to stay the same. And that's the reason I care about this file, because it's not because JSON is special. It's just because the file gives me one place to check the words before anything gets pretty. And if the deck sounds wrong here, I know before it even renders. And if the deck sounds right here, every step after this has a simple job. Don't mess up the words. So here's the biggest hack I learned this weekend. It's super simple. And so like when you render the carousel in HTML, which is what you see right here, it's not this is different from the deck.json, which has words. This is the actual HTML. So if you know HTML, it's like what you use to build websites. That's the render, the carousel. This gets converted into a PNG. Then I feed those PNG in Nano Banana as a reference image. And that order matters, because if I start a slide, if I start inside the image model, like going straight to Nano Banana, I'm asking it to solve 2 jobs at once. Write the slide, design the slide, keep the text accurate, make it look good. And that's just too much to trust in a single prompt. So I just split the job. The HTML part handles the boring controlled process. Nano handles the visual polish. And let's see, this is the output folder. It said it generated it in carousel is 5.9. If you look here on the right, folders right here. So here are the slides: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. What just happened was the script read this deck.json file. It built one HTML file right here that lays everything out. And then it laid out all the 8 slides with normal CSS. And then it spun up a headless browser. It scrolled through each slide. It took a screenshot by 1080 at 1080 by 1350, and it got 1 PNG per slide, plus a contract sheet so you can see all 8 at once. It's not glamorous, it's good, and this is the point. It's just the same input, same output every time, no drift, and no model felt creative today. So that's why this was the unlock for me, because I didn't need Nano Banana to invent a carousel. I just needed Nano Banana to improve the carousel that already existed, and that's a very different task. And this is the version I'd actually post. And the slides are decent, the text is correct, they look simple, and which is exactly why I tried the next step. And so this is where basic design pain shows up. So it looks decent. You know, the baseline works, but it can be very basic, right? It's not going to wow anybody. And so it has internal doc energy, not slide it actually, post on LinkedIn, for example. So I just took these baseline PNGs and ran them through Nano Banana. And the job was cosmetic, really, just better contrast, better edges, a little texture so the slides don't look like, stock template. And so look, here we go. I'm gonna zoom in here. So clean. And some of these I would post, to be honest, but like it can get very repetitive. Like I wouldn't put all my slides every single time like this. So they look polished, they look a real post, but the colors could just be tighter. The hierarchy could be cleaner, and that's just the part that mattered to me. And this is where I had to be honest about the build. The system worked and the output existed, but if I posted this as baseline, I would feel like a note. It will feel like a note from my own folder. So useful maybe, but save worthy most likely not, right? So I've already used Nano Banana in the past, but my point is Nano Banana is still amazing at what it does. I don't think I need the best model for, carousel images. I think still generate clean. And so here's the caveat. Image models can still drift on text. If you look closely at the slides like these, the body can shift, word here or there if you've ever used an image model. And this is a known risk with any image model and this part of the pipeline. So I'm not going to pretend that I caught some dramatic production bug here. So that was my weekend validation build. Not a live post that went out, but it's just worth knowing. If you're going to use an image model for polish, the words you care about should not live in the image model. They should live in a file, which is the whole reason the truth layer exists. So here's where I landed. The real problem is controlled render first, visual polish second. Deck.json owns the words. The renderer turns those words into a clean baseline PNG, and then the image model gets to add texture and contrast to that PNG. And that's the whole hack. Render the carousel in HTML first, create PNG second, feed those to Nano Banana, and the important thing to remember, and this is the order. The image model comes after you have the baseline first. It doesn't get a blank canvas. It gets a clean render slide, and that's why the workflow feels a little bit more controllable. And if you want any belt and suspenders, you can add one more step, a deterministic text overlay, so it reads the words from the deck.json and restamps them onto a polished image. So same font, same positioning, same line. If the image model rewrote something, the overlay paints right over it. I haven't shipped that overlay yet, but that will be my next patch, I would imagine. I'm still telling you about it because the rule is pretty much the lesson. And the system has to be lean on its own. No more, vibe changes. We test every time. So for this video, the overlay isn't the headline. The headline is the weekend build, and the lesson is the ordering. Control the render first, visual polish second, and then hardening later. So if this is not even, if for some reason this is still not hitting home, the best way I like to think about this is you could just ask Nano Banana to do it, and maybe it works out for you. Maybe that's your first attempt. I wouldn't advise it, but if you're impatient and you just want to try it, go ahead. Maybe start getting the hang of get the thing working. Or maybe you want to take this angle, which is what I just do, JSON in itself. That's what I would recommend, because it's free. You don't spend on any AI API costs. It's just straight HTML, and the images, you can have more control of the words because they're precise once you have that JSON file, and then you just polish afterward. So if there's one thing you take from this video, it's this. If you're going to use an image model to avoid, and you're going to have a lot of text, because now Nano Banana, and especially image gen, they can get super crispy with the text, like at a very precise level. Like you can even have it generate like a skew and it'll work. That's how crazy good these models are. But even if you're using something like Nano Banana or Image Gen, which are good models for images, you still don't want to have to guess what exact words you want. And that's the whole purpose of taking your content. You want to repurpose it. You want to have actual, like, the core message still there. You don't want to have that made up. And essentially, this is the way to do it. So if you have no idea what that is, don't even worry about it. Like if you've never coded a website, if you don't know anything about coding, just go to your Claude Code or Cowork, go to Codex, go to Gemini, and just ask it to generate it for you. And you'll have something similar to this file over here. You can just screenshot this right here and have it create something like this for you. And that's what you want to feed to Nano Banana, and explain to it that you want to just create an image in HTML, screenshot it, and then feed that to Image Gen or Nano Banana in this case, because it's cheaper, and you're good to go. All right, so what do you actually do with this on Monday? Pick one piece of long form you already made. It could be a podcast, a video, a long form post, just one thing. Number two, just pick one angle. So the line you'd put in a tweet, if you got one, or write it down somewhere plain. Lock the slide words before you open any design tool. 8 to 10 slides. And then kicker, title, body, name that whatever you want. That's not even what I chose, by the way. That's what my AI chose. And that's your deck.json, whether or not you call it that. So the text lives somewhere in the image. The image tools cannot touch. So then 4, render the baseline. HTML is what I use. If you want to use Figma or Canva, make a clean version where the text is correct and the design is simple. 5, polish if you want. So image model, designer, filter, and then your call. Just remember the rule: render first, polish second. Words live in a file. That's the whole move. You don't need the exact folder. You don't need an exact renderer. You just need the order, lock the words, render the baseline, and then polish the picture. And that's also the part I'd steal if I was watching this. Not my exact script, not my exact colors, not my exact folder structure, just the order. So if you're building anything where words matter and visuals matter, separate those jobs. So let the boring layer be boring, let the pretty layer be pretty, and then check out before you post. That's the whole operator move. So because most of the time the mistake is not using AI, the mistake is giving one model just everything. That could be with a skill, that could be with an agent. You never want to cram in with too much. So just whether it's writing, designing, polishing, designing, post, I don't want that. So I want small tools with clear jobs and small boring pieces. So if you want the workbench checklist and the skills folders, I'm going to put that in the Shipley newsletter. Links in the description, one email, and then you can run the same workbench on your own stuff. So I'll see you on the next one.